So your bill has been passed by the Senate and the House both. Maybe it took some doing, maybe you needed a conference committee report, maybe you needed concurrence or dispute, but you got it done. Congratulations. Now the governor has a choice to make. He or she can sign it or not sign it or veto it or partial veto it. Those are basically the options, and there are time periods that apply to all of this that I won't go into for our purposes, but they basically depend on whether the legislature is still in session or not, how much time the governor has. Because if the governor vetoes something and the legislature says, no, we don't like your veto, we really meant it, there's a chance for them to override the veto, and they have to do that with a supermajority vote in open session. There's all kinds of minutia about that, but that's the general way that that goes. Veto overrides are very uncommon. I can only think of a handful of them in 3 decades. They do happen, but they're very uncommon. Most commonly, the governor loves your idea because if you're smart, you've been talking to the governor throughout this. And the governor is not in a hyperbaric chamber or buried in a cave somewhere. The governor has people and he himself is following this and knows what's coming along. And usually is having input into this whole process. So usually you have a pretty good sense of where the governor is before you even get to this stage. So if you've done all your homework and the governor likes your bill, he is going to sign it. Another thing that might happen though is he or she might do a partial veto. There are all kinds of rules about what the governor can and cannot veto with a partial veto. Very generally, and I know there's people that will disagree with me, this is a controversial statement, but very generally, the governor may veto an entire section, a total section, not just a sentence, not just a word, but an entire unit. He or she may choose to veto and take out of a bill. There's more to it than that, but for our purposes, that's what a partial veto is. Comes up very commonly with a line item veto is another name for it, and the reason it's called a line item veto is it usually relates to a budget. The governor has the ability to line item, take out a line of a budget, something that he or she doesn't want to spend money on. They can line it out. They can also do that with regular bills. Most commonly, after a set period of time, the bill becomes law, and from then on, it actually goes over to the code revisor's office. They actually put it in those green books. The books are typically green. They could be printed any color, but they're typically green. And it gets put in with the rest of the laws that you can find in any law library, or increasingly, most commonly, you find online. So it's kind of a fun thing to get a bill passed, and when enough time passes, go look up the law you passed in the actual green book or online. It's kind of a fun thing, and it'll even say the year it was passed and all of that. All those details will be in there. And then your bill that is a wannabe law is a law. Congratulations.